Carlos was Carlos, very distinguished also. We may not, maybe many of you may not know him, may not remember him as a leader, but for those of us that have done politics in Emurua Dikir, there were days when without Carlos, you were not guaranteed of doing a political meeting in that constituency. He had a very powerful group of young men that walked around him. I don't recall the exact name they called themselves. But you could not do a political meeting without first consulting with them. And we worked with him very well during that particular campaign. When we finished, so distinguished was Carlos in his work that when we finished the campaigns of 2017 and came into office, it was actually the president himself, not any other person, that said, you know, those of you that have worked with the president, you know how he makes his decision. Said, that young man from Emurua Dikir, yeah, the tall one, I want him to be amongst the people that work in this office of the deputy president. That's how Carlos got himself employed, because of his organization skills, and he worked there for that particular period. And I have known him throughout the years, very hardworking young person, very gifted, also in his mobilization skills, ability to speak and move with people. I last saw Carlos in December. He had come to Kericho for a function, and we spoke many things, and of course left each other. I didn't know that perhaps that would be the last time that I would see him alive. So I equally pass my condolence to his family, to his siblings, to his parents, and do promise that the way you requested this morning when you were pushing the casket, that please don't forget us now that your friend is gone. I promise that I will not forget you. Carlos was a true brother, and we shall continue to be together with you guys. And so many other people that you've learned. Mheshimiwa Ngeno had a unique team. I think even of Nicholas, his camera person, who taught me something without saying it. As you know, many of you are politicians. When you go to public functions and you sit there at the front, many of our colleagues come with their camera persons. And part of the things that Nicholas used to do is that he would capture me in not very nice moments, and then they'd be posted. So one time I complained to my camera person, and I sent him to Nicholas and say, please ask Nicholas, why does he always capture me at my worst moments? Either when, of course, I don't sleep in public functions, but there are certain things that I do. Sometimes I shake my head as if I'm talking to myself or something. And Nicholas was very good at capturing those moments. My camera person came back to me with an answer. He said, it is his way of telling you that when you're seated in public, no people are watching you. Just be steady. And I think I have tried the last few times. That is how gifted this team of Mheshimiwa Ngeno was. So, and so many other people. This Captain George, I flew with him on Sunday before they perished, just a week later. And it was very organized. In fact, you know, people have tried to find reasons here and there what may have happened. My own assessment of Captain George, having flown with him barely a week before he perished, he was a very meticulous pilot, very careful. We were together with the Speaker of the National Assembly, and you can attest that he was organized in the way that he took his flight. When you land, he gets out of the chopper first, shows you a way where to walk to. So much as many people are saying many things, I would still wish to believe that only God knows what may have happened. But this was also a very gifted pilot, and so many others of the team that worked with Mheshimiwa Ngeno. So I wouldn't wish to say a lot of things, Mheshimiwa Kimani. I know time is far much spent, but I celebrate this Mheshimiwa Ngeno. I had told you that in 2017, we went and tried to outsit him. We didn't succeed. But as fate would have it, 2018, we came to Parliament, mended fences quickly, as politicians do. That's why I want to advise those of you that are not politicians like us, never carry a grudge on behalf of us. Of doing, which young people say they shower and go back to the market quickly. They make friends and enemies in quick succession. By 2018, we worked together and did so many other things together, the challenges we had in the Mao and all these things. And happily, 2022, he joined our party, the UDA party. We went, campaigned together. I do recall, I must say this, because he's a person we had sent when we were planning the party primaries, we had sent a few of our members to oversee elections in certain constituencies. And Mheshimiwa Kawanjiku was in charge of Emurua Dikir. When he got there, he wanted to take off before getting out of his car, because Emurua Dikir is a special place. He told me, you know how me, I come from Kiambu. I've never been, the only place where people carry knives and rungus is either in a fight or in a butchery. Here everybody has a knife. I told him, please keep calm. Those people will not harm you. Then there was a very serious issue that had arisen. Mheshimiwa would recall. His competitor and the line that they belonged to had actually enlisted their supporters only as the party agents and the clerks. And Mheshimiwa Ngeno called protesting. He said, I knew you guys were up to something when you were inviting me to join this party of yours. You wanted to finish me. And he was really complaining. Luckily, we agreed with the guidance of the party leader together with Mheshimiwa Kawanjiku, who was really tense at that moment. I told him, no, don't worry about Emurua Dikir. They exist in that nature. Just sit the two of them, let each of them give you 50-50 of the agents and the clerks. And that is how they did a successful nomination. And Mheshimiwa Ngeno became our party candidate. We campaigned together and came to Parliament this time. So I have many stories that I would have said about Mheshimiwa, but I wouldn't wish to spend a lot of time. I celebrate him. There are many things we agreed with. There are things that we didn't agree together. But in principle, we agreed on the things that he stood for. We perhaps sometimes only differed in the approach of how to get what he wanted. But nonetheless, we remained good friends, meeting occasionally. His kids and mine go to the same school, and we have sometimes very interesting conversations at the parking lot of the school, because it'd be a weekend, and I've said something, sometimes maybe not very nice against people that I know, and he'd give the explanation, and I'd wish to appreciate. I saw teachers from the school. I saw our school principal, Ms. Vashisht. I can't trace where she's. I've seen you together with Ms. Kishimo. Thank you for coming to mourn with the children of Mheshimiwa Ngeno and representing the school here. So on many occasions we'd meet and...
A great brother and a good friend of mine. This man that is lying in this casket was more than a brother. We shared so many things together. Even a week before his death, we shared and he left behind. As a friend of Johana, we pray that God will give you strength. That in the multitude of the great things he did, not only for our community, the Kalenjin, but the whole nation, may God give you comfort. Secondly, I'll just mention this majority leader. I know its time is over. One of the memorable things I have of Johana, when we came up with the concept of the Kalenjin Music Festival, we were doing in my boardroom. It was around 1 a.m. in the morning, together with all these friends of ours who are laying down, who were constant visitors in my house. The idea was that we said, how can we bring the whole nation together at that time? And how can we advance the agenda, not only of the community, but of the president? And that's how we created this concept right in the boardroom of my house with these men. Then the problem came up. There was no money. So we looked into Aja, where can we get the resources? So I tell this guy, I have this, but Chok has this. Let us look out for this man, to bring in also some few coins. And that's how the first festival happened at Kapkatet. Of course, it is in all knowledge that the question of kingpin arose also at that time. And when it came about, as Aaron had said, there are always political formations and all that. In essence, I became the first casualty of Ngeno's association with me. And the first casualty was my impeachment for being a friend to him. And this man sat with me throughout the night, and we walked together. And just to say this in essence, because we'll have time to discuss this at home, is that this man loved people, he stood with everyone, and he had an open heart, who was forgiving, and a man who has a vision. Lastly, Ntutu, and allow me to say this because I'm a governor from that region. There are certain things that this man fought for. Number one, issues of land are very emotive within those areas he comes from. And Melly had said rightly. There are still unresolved issues that this man fought for. In the confines of our spaces, he discussed passionately, and we cried when he, on Angata, Barigoi, he cried for the Mao Fictis, equally joined hands together as we discussed the land injustices in Kericho tea estates. Out of this, because I know my good friend is clapping here, I just want to say that may God rest the soul of Johana Ngeno in eternal peace, together with his friends, and may God give the family comfort at this difficult time. I should say thank you. I just want to request that we stand with this family and support them, because they are still pretty young. And Wasiri Murkomen, there are certain things that I'll reach out to you, which are quite personal, that we share with him, and we will see together how we can go about it. Asante sana, and may God bless all of you.
Your Excellency, just allow me to say one more thing, or two more things. One, we also have in our midst the former governor of Narok County. Kindly, my brother Samuel Oletunai, just stand up. Mpigie makofi tafadhali. Number two, Your Excellency, I have also the Ntutu families are here, led by my wife, the First Lady, and if I don't introduce her, I don't know whether I'll be at home today. So kindly, ebu musimame tu kidogo, and the mother of Naya. Asanteni sana. Thank you so much. Last but not least, this is a request, Your Excellency, that our brother, Kipkoech Keter Robert, known as Carlos, was employed by the TSC just 3 weeks ago, and he lost his life. We have a sister who comes from the same family, the same mother, the same father. Her name is Faith Ngeno Mutai, who has a Bachelor of Education. The people have requested me that because you are here, kindly let us just exchange the letters and give it to him so that he can take that position. For the family of my protocol officer, I've already, because I've checked, she has a requisite degree. I will also, she's going to replace Ndugurono as the protocol officer. Your Excellency, I know that we don't have the police right now or anybody, in the discipline. But the young man who was in KFS, I think we will see what we can do to also take him. Because again, we are trying to make sure that all these people have been taken care of. So I want you to help him, because I'm trying to do about 3 of them. But if I give you, kama msee Yarika wawili, tafutia mimi pali ya kuweka tafadhali. Ya mwisho ni kuwaomba wakaaji wa Narok County ya kwamba tomorrow, kesho asubuhi saa 2:30, tutachukua hizi bodies ama hizi mili, tutachukua tu Emurua Dikir Primary School. Hapo ndio wananchi wetu wa Emurua Dikir na Kenya kwa jumla, hasa wale wote ambao wanataka kuwa pale ndio tutapata nafasi kubwa the whole day to mourn our brothers. Last but not least, Your Excellency, familia ya ndugu zetu, tukisha maliza hapa, tafadhali tukutane kwa hii hema. I have niko na ripoti kutoka Mheshimiwa Rais. Nilikuwa nataka tu kuambia vile ameniambia niwaambie, na pia kwa sababu Deputy President ako hapa, kuna kitu amesema tuwape kama a token of appreciation, a token of kusema pole. Otherwise, ya mwisho kama gavana wa kaunti hiyo, naomba wananchi wetu wa kaunti ya Narok, sisi wote tuwe huko Emurua Dikir hizi siku 2, tuwe pamoja, na tunaomba kila mtu akuje na amani. Sisi kama watu wa Emurua Dikir kama Narok County ni watu ambao tunapenda amani, na tungependa kuweka siasa yoyote ile kwa yale ambayo yamefanyika. Kwa haya machache ama mengi, Mungu amweke warehemu wetu pali pema peponi. Asante.
Thank you very much, Governor Ntutu. I'll request Lexia Sidai, Amos Ngeno, Faith Cherono, Dorcas Chepkoech, just be upstanding where you are. These are the members of staff who are working with Mheshimiwa Ngeno in his office. Let us give them a hand of applause because they have, together with our clerks in the National Assembly, the clerk's assistant to the Committee of Housing, supported Mheshimiwa in his work at the constituency, and I know there are also other members of staff who shall be introduced in Emurua Dikir, who worked with Mheshimiwa Ngeno. We appreciate you and thank you, Napoleni sana. Your Excellency, I'll just say one word, then invite the youth leader and party leader of ODM, Mheshimiwa Oburu, to give his condolences, then the speakers who will invite you. And mine, Your Excellency, on behalf of the members of the National Assembly, whom worked with Mheshimiwa Ngeno and many of these other gentlemen lying before us here this afternoon, is to say pole to the families of all these gentlemen here. I knew at least 3 of them, as Aaron said, in 2017, when he went to revenge against Johana Ngeno for having decampaigned him in his by-election. He invited me together with Governor Tunai to join them, and we were designated to go and campaign for Jubilee in Narok County. And I remember then when we visited his village in Mogondo, even young children would see a chopper coming down and would say, Uchungwa, Uchungwa, because of the number of times that we set foot in Emurua Dikir to campaign for our party Jubilee. And let me say, I had known Johana when we joined, just before we joined Parliament together in 2013. And as fate would have it, we served in the same committee. I was his vice chair in the Public Investments Committee. And that is when I discovered or saw the intellect, especially on legal matters, of Mheshimiwa Ngeno, because he was a pivotal person in our committee on matters legal, and he shepherded us on many legal issues when we served together in the Public Investments Committee in the 11th Assembly. Again, as fate would have it, when in 2017 we parted ways and he ran on KANU and we're in Jubilee, we campaigned against each other. But we kept our friendship. And I remember all through the campaign, we would go with my brother Aaron and Governor Tunai to campaign in Emurua Dikir. And in the evening, because we were very good friends with Ngeno, he would send me all the clips of what I have said on the ground. And he would tell me, nitawanyorosha, and for sure, alitunyorosha. That was Johana. And as P.S. Hinga said, because I had worked closely with him, I knew his character, I knew his strengths, when we were re-elected again in 2022 and designated him to be the chair of our Housing and Urban Development Committee in the National Assembly. Many people, including P.S. Hinga and his CS then, had a lot of misgivings on Johana. And I remember assuring P.S. Hinga, and I thank God that we have indicated that you will not have a better chairperson than Johana Ngeno. Unfortunately, 3 or 4 months after he was elected as a chair, many members, including a few who are here, led by the member for Sirisia, sought to impeach Johana Ngeno as the chair of that committee. And I remember we had a long session convincing them that Johana is like this. He is forthright. He will tell you things as they are. And probably because we had a shared character in that nature of being able to tell people things as they are without mincing words. I understood him and I convinced all the 15 members of that committee to allow Johana to continue serving. And I can speak for members of his committee because the vice chair spoke here on their behalf to say that they had the best chairman in that committee. I said at home to Mrs. Ngeno, this nation, Parliament, and indeed that committee is only poorer without Chairman Johana Ngeno. Because we needed a man like Ngeno to be able to shepherd us through the housing levy debacle of 2023-2024. Even the court cases that went to court, Johana, being a legal mind, was an active participant even in the litigation, advising the counsel that were appearing in court on how to push our case in court. And the success that we have seen, Your Excellency, in the housing sector, Johana Ngeno's name has a full chapter when the history of the housing agenda and the transformation of our country is finally written. Johana Ngeno and this committee have a full chapter in the amount of work they input. As fate would have it, Carlos here, when we went to campaign in 2017 in Amurwa Dekir, Carlos is a gentleman who was organizing all our meetings in Jubilee. And I came to know him, as my brother Aaron has said, as a very forthright and dedicated and very committed youth leader in that constituency. And we worked very closely with him in the time he served in the protocol department in the office of the Deputy President. And until recently, we kept in touch. And I must say, poleni sana to the family of our brother Carlos Mwalimu. We have lost a very dedicated person and a very committed leader in our country. Captain Were, Mama, and your brother, George's brother, and the family, let me say Pole. I've known Were now for close to about 7 years since I first flew with him. And as Aaron has said, Captain Were was a very good captain. He not only makes sure that he gets out fast to open the door for you, he would also make sure many of us, Your Excellency, and I know Speaker Wetangula will bear me witness because he flew with Captain Were the other Sunday. He would never allow you to sit in the front seat and not strap the shoulder straps. And many of us are used just to strapping the waist strap. Captain Were would make sure that you strap even the shoulder straps if you are flying with him in the front seat. We have lost them. Let us accept it as God's will and pray to the Almighty God that you give these families the fortitude and the strength and the comfort that they deserve, because they truly deserve that comfort that can only come from the Lord Almighty. May God rest their souls in eternal peace and bless these families even as we lay all our brothers to rest this week and the weeks that will follow for Captain George. And we will join all the families and support you even as we lay them to rest and continue praying for you even beyond the funeral. With those few remarks, our condolences on behalf of all the members of the National Assembly who joined us in the song that we sang. We thought it was the best way to say Pole, since we all would have wanted to speak here, but because of time we'll not be able to do. With those many remarks, let me invite the youth leader and party leader of ODM, Mheshimiwa Senator Oburu, pass his condolences. And then I will ask CS Kipchumba Murkomen to come on behalf of the Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you, the Deputy President of Kenya, Professor the speakers of both National Assembly and the Senate, and all protocols observed. I have come here with a lot of pain to say bye-bye to a young man. This young man, I came to know him in 2012. In 2012, he was a very close friend of my late brother, Raila Amolo Odinga. And he was very passionate to be with us in our party, ODM. And he wanted to contest the seat in Murwadi Kir on ODM ticket. But unfortunately, after trying to campaign for a few months there, will not vote for him if he stands on an ODM ticket. That was very honest. And he told us that he was going to contest on Jubilee, and that was more acceptable, and he was going to still be with us. And he joined us in Parliament. Personally, you know, I joined Parliament in 1994, and I have not left it until today. So, Johana, Ngeno, and the majority leader are there. They found us there, and we were giving them a few lessons on parliamentary practice. And he was a very passionate, very, very passionate member of parliament. But I was giving him a few clues what to do in order to be close to your people. Your people will not respect you simply because you speak a lot in parliament. They will respect you if they see a difference in their livelihood. So there are few things which you must do. First, you must learn to know that these people you see, the ministers you see here, they are very important because they hold the public resources which you need to devolve to your people. And you cannot just be sitting in parliament there speaking and you don't speak to them. You don't knock the doors. You don't knock the doors and make sure that those resources which are with them are flowing back to your people. And if they are not flowing, you make sure they flow. But if they flow, make sure the implementation there also happened. They can flow, but then the implementation does not happen. The money disappears in the hands of a few people. And Johana Ngeno learned those tricks, and he very quickly grasped the parliamentary practice and how to be close to his people. And I also know Captain Were. Captain Were used to be a pilot for my brother, late brother Raila. His wife is also from Alego, where my mom comes from, so she's my mom. And they are also a fairly young family. But I've seen all these people who have lost, whom we have lost. Most of them are very young. And I know that because Ngeno was the politician there, it is Ngeno's name which is coming up very prominently. But I can assure you, all these people are having a lot of pain in losing their beloved ones. But the one of Ngeno, I know politicians are going to now start talking about some ill motive, or there is some motive behind his death. The politicians who have very little agenda, they always want to read some malice in the death of a politician, any politician who died. But a politician is also a human being like all human beings. You can have an accident. You can die in just a normal accident like every.
Married. The person who led in that harassment was Senator Oburu, because we served with Senator Oburu and Johana in the Public Investments Committee. And every time we'd go for a retreat to Mombasa for report writing, Senator Oburu would have his younger family, his younger you have read in 2018, he tied the knot with the love of his life, Nainoi Ntutu here. I want to invite Senator and Cabinet Secretary Murkomen to introduce the CSs here present, give your brief condolences, then you will invite for us the Speaker of the Senate.
Asante sana. Thank you, Majority Leader. Your Excellency, Professor Kithure Kindiki, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Right Honorable Speaker, Wetangula, National Assembly, Principal Secretaries, Majority Leaders and Members of Parliament, Bishop Langat and the Church Fraternity, the families of our friends, that is Nick, Amos, Captain Were, the families of Wycliffe and my friend Carlos, and the family of our friend and brother Johana Ngeno. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon once again. First of all, let me say that this is a very sad day. To have 6 lives in a church like this, this is very painful. And I'd like to send my personal condolences to the families. And before I say a very few remarks, I'd like first to introduce my colleagues whom we serve in the executive, starting with Principal Secretaries present. Please be upstanding. We have a good number of Principal Secretaries who are here. We have the PS Arumonyang Public Works, PS Aurelia, Office of the PCS, PS Rono, Agriculture, PS Mbunya, Public Service, PS Finance, Chris Kipto, PS Environment, Engineer Ngeno, PS Internal Security, Raymond Omolo, PS Education, Professor Bitok, PS Lands, again he has been introduced to Korir. We have the Solicitor General present. We have the PS Citizen Services, Immigration, Abelio. We have the PS Lands. We have PS Korir Water, and PS Mining, Harim Kimutai. Thank you very much for being present. We also have here my colleagues, Cabinet Secretaries present. We have, please be upstanding. CS Rebecca Miano of Tourism. We have CS Davis Chirchir of Roads and Transport. And we have CS Defense, Rosalind Soipantuia. And Mr. Deputy President, it will be very unfair if I don't give Rosalind 1 minute to say something. for the simple reason that, unknown to many people, she was very close to Ngeno. And since I was part of the negotiations that took place in 2022, I know the inside story and where Ngeno stood when it came to Soipan. So I'd like to invite her to say something.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Professor Kithure Kindiki, speakers of both houses, Honorable Wetangula, Honorable Speaker of the Senate, governors, colleague CSs, the families of our departed brothers, fellow mourners, good afternoon. I would like to, on my own personal behalf, on behalf of my family, and on behalf of the Ministry of Defense, I would like to pass my very sincere condolences to the families, friends, relatives, and many Kenyans who are mourning today for the loss of our brothers, Wycliffe, Carlos, Honorable Ngeno, Lieutenant Colonel retired Were, Amos, and Nicholas. I will not be long because of time, but just to say that Narok County is in mourning for the loss of all these very dear brothers, as well as the military fraternity because of retired Lieutenant Colonel Were. And as Waziri says, I would like to say something very brief about our brother, Johana Ngeno. Although I am very well known to all these other young men from Narok County, as well as Captain Were. I have flown with him a few times. We have lost a great leader in Honorable Ngeno. And to me, he's a friend, he's a colleague, and a brother in so many ways. And unknown to many, maybe many people just know the abrasive side of our brother Ngeno, but he's a very amiable human being and a serious family person. I don't know if Naya knows, but I have messages of him inviting me to your baby showers. Unfortunately, he always caught me out of town. And I know he moved around with you, even on parliamentary trips, and, you know, I know how family person he is. And in his politics, we got elected into parliament in 2013. And for those who know how unceremoniously I got into politics, Johana Ngeno played a big role. I think he used to sympathize with this tiny young girl, and he used to pull a lot of big crowds. So part of the ways I got known within 2 months of campaigning was joyriding in his big crowds and getting known to the people of Narok County. He was very supportive all through our political career. And even on days when sometimes he would declare people persona non grata in Emurua Dikir, as I know the leaders of majority did not say much of the 2022 campaigns. They were tough. Honorable Ishungwa and Aaron, you know, there were days when you could not get into Emurua Dikir. But 2017, but he always supported me all along. And when I vied for governorship in 2022, he always called me my governor, while I knew exactly where his heart was. But he would call me his governor, And true to his word, he was always very soft with me. Even when things were hot in Emurua Dikir, I would find my way around. And I think he's a Mkarabati. I don't know what Sudi will say, but I know he's one Mkarabati of politics, Ngeno. So one day, him and Farouk accosted me in the deputy president's residence in Karen when we were at the heat of campaigns for governorship, and I was vying against his father-in-law, Patrick. So him and Farouk put me in a room and said, you know, we have seen far, and we know you're going to become a cabinet secretary. And knowing who he was and who Farouk is, nikajua hawa wananipanga. So I was very furious with them. I walked out on them. To cut the long story short, when I got appointed, he came back and said, you see, I had a prophecy. So amekuwa akinidai prophecy fees lately. We've lost a great friend, a great leader. We've lost great young people and captain here, and they will greatly be missed in all the various sectors where they served this country. And finally, when I saw the accident victims, when it started circulating on social media, and I saw, very unfortunately, our brother as being one of them, and Carlos being in the same aircraft, I got confused because I know where they stood politically. But like we are told, it is not that serious. When it is politics, we stand on different sides. Let's agree to disagree, but remember, it is not that serious. We have to hold our country together. We are brothers and sisters, even if we hold divergent views about things. And that is the same thing that we need to understand at this point going forward, that we can agree to disagree, but keep the peace, each one of us expressing themselves the way they want to. Your Excellencies, this is my church, and I know Bishop will allow me to say, Karibuni Kanisani. Thank you for coming to mourn with Narok County, with the family of our brother Colonel Were and the entire country. To all the families, may the Lord comfort you, and we are going to stand together as we afford a befitting send-off to each and every one of our brothers. The Lord bless you all. Thank you.
I will be very brief, Your Excellency. First, let me say, like many colleagues have said here, I joined politics the same time, or I was elected to Parliament the same time with Honorable Johana Ngeno in 2013. And you all know he came in KNC. He stuck on that side in 2017 when he moved to Kano. And like many of my colleagues, including Ichungu, have said, that we were always on the opposite side for a long time until after 2017. How I became a friend to Carlos was actually because we were campaigning against Ngeno. And in that campaign, what was extremely interesting is that we would go there and say, Tupigie Kura Jubilee, we do what we needed to do. When we came back to Nairobi, he never took offense. Ngeno never took any offense. He used to say, you people don't know those people. Those are my people. I have come from very far. I actually used to say I created a constituency and that nothing will change. He kept a very good spirit as a politician, a person who is able to fight during the day and negotiate at night. He knew when to compete with colleagues and when to negotiate with them. And we had a very good relationship that grew over time. The more I stayed close to Ngeno, I felt like he was a very underrated leader. In fact, for a person who went to Maseno school and did his first degree out of the country in Kiev, and then had a second degree here with another master's degree. He was the kind of person that I think all of us assumed, because of his style of politics and the way he mingled with the people in Emurua Dikir, and the way he never threw the card of his academic achievements all over. We actually underrated his intellect and his capabilities. It's until you sit down with him and engage him that you realize that he had a certain depth in terms of intellect, knowledge, and appreciation of issues. Number two, I don't know if there's something like that, Bishop will tell me. Ngeno was quietly and deeply a religious man. And that is another contradiction. For some of us who went to Sunday school and grew up in pastors' families, it used to fascinate me how in his public speeches, he had the capabilities to speak about verses in the Bible often and relate it with his political journey. And he really used to quote those deep verses, and the interpretations would indicate a person who had an appreciation of theology, an appreciation of the Bible and Christianity. No wonder every of his example he used to give was always about heaven, a new land. I think it's because also of the challenges he used to face in Narok, Transmara, Emurua Dikir, on the challenges he went through. It was always, figuratively, he always used to tell his people there is a better land to go to. His favorite song was Kalenjin Hymn Songs 100. And I've heard him sing many times. Mieme ne kararan misi, ne kikere amuka yanet. Si kostjobwe, korona tabara kipsengwe. Tungi boy. You want to pretend there are no Kalenjins here? Kere yeti, kimni. Tunki boy tu yeki kere Yesu. So somehow there was a depth of faith in him that was underrated, and I think he was quietly in communion with God in his life, unlike some of us who publicly professed. Ngeno, a very interesting issue that has not been captured here. Or people fear to say it. It was actually something unique there that was called kingpin. That everybody, so there was this joke all the time. You meet him and he says, I'm the kingpin. And then, so I used to tell him, but who are you competing with? That is an opposed. He once had to explain himself when politics became too much. So he said, they are in the skies, there is a sun, that is President William Ruto. There is a moon, which is his deputy, and there are other bigger stars. So he used to tell us that he's a firefly. You see the firefly, that his kingship is a firefly. Kimengwet. So he used to say he glows at night, he's one of those fireflies. And as we think about it, and it was really very interesting, when we think about it, it reminds me the sermon of Martin Luther King Jr. when he preached about Mark chapter 10:35, about the drum major instincts. And he said that, in us, when James and John asked Jesus that they would like to be put on the left side and the right side in their kingdom, it was Jesus who told them that, yes, that is fine, but it has to come through sacrifice. It takes sacrifice and servant leadership to be in my right side or left side. And I think as Johana said he was a firefly, I think he was right. He was a firefly of justice. He fought for the justice of his people. He fought for land justice. He was a firefly when it came to music. An artist. He really did a lot to raise the stature of the musicians in this country. He was a firefly when he became in his leadership in the committee of housing. He did a fantastic job, as everybody has realized here, has spoken about it here. And therefore, in commemoration of his great job, I want to say that let us go out there and be the fireflies, the servant leadership, be the kingpins and queenpins in your corner to make a difference in every opportunity you are given to make a difference in this nation. Mr. Speaker, DP, I needed to say Carlos is also my friend, a very good friend of mine. The book writes that this book is written that Carlos graduated in 2015. He went from first year 2010 and graduated in 2015. It is not true. He did not graduate in 2015. Carlos went to university in 2010, and in 2015 he left college. But he could not graduate because he had a fee of about $500,000. So in 2023, on 2nd of October, he came to my office and told me, I want to graduate. And I told him, okay, I'll see what to do. Luckily, we facilitated his graduation. On 20th of December, he sent me a picture having graduated with his mother. And he was very happy in appreciation. This man was a very good friend. He was a hardworking person. And I want to say that Carlos, one of the reasons why Carlos did not get a job early, he had told us that he would not want to be a teacher early because he thought he was focusing on his political career. And Were also was very close to me, and I know the family know that. We have gone home, he has come to my place. And I must say that on behalf of all of us who are in the executive, we want to pray for these families. We will support you. His Excellency the President had directed our ministry to do some work on his behalf, and we have done so to facilitate food in the home, to facilitate the tents, and to facilitate also many other arrangements that His Excellency the President said that all those people who come there must be fed and must be appreciated for the support they continue to give their Member of Parliament and the families that are present with us. I wish you God's grace. May the souls of all these great gentlemen rest in eternal peace. It is now my greatest pleasure and duty to invite my speaker, who was my speaker for a few months before I left Senate, Speaker Amason Jeva Kingi.
Familia za wenda zake zikiongozwa na wajane, wazazi, ndugu na marafiki, Naibu Rais Profesa Kithure Kindiki, viongozi wenzangu, mabibi na mabwana waombolezaji. Bwana asifiwe. Bwana asifiwe tena. Kwa niaba yangu binafsi na kwa niaba ya familia yangu na kwa niaba ya bunge la Senate, ningependa kupeana risala za rambirambi kwa huzuni kwa familia za ndugu zetu ambao walituacha. Kifo ni kifo, lakini kifo cha ghafla kina uchungu mkubwa. Na bila shaka uchungu huu ndio familia hizi 6 zinasikia kwa sasa. Letu ni kumwombea Mwenyezi Mungu awapatie faraja na bega la kuegemea wakati huu mgumu. Tunajua wazi katika eneo bunge ambalo Mheshimiwa Johana alikuwa akiwakilisha, wingu la majonzi limetanda mapana na marefu eneo bunge lile. Kwa sababu Mheshimiwa alikuwa pia mwanafamilia wa bunge letu. Nimesikiliza wale waliozungumza kwa niaba ya familia hizi 6. Na imebainika wazi kwamba wale ambao wamelala mbele yetu hapa walikuwa wanategemewa pakubwa na familia hizi 6. Na kama wahenga wanavyotuambia ni kwamba mti mkubwa ukianguka wana wa ndege huyumba. Bila shaka familia hizi zitayumba, na ndio maana tunamwomba Mwenyezi Mungu apatie nguvu na apatie maswali, apatie majibu yale maswali ambayo mnajiuliza katika fikra zenyu. Uzuri ni kwamba tulivyoambiwa ni kwamba ndugu zetu walolala walikuwa ni watu wanaogopa na kumtegemea Mungu na Yesu Kristo. Na kama vile tunavyokumbushwa katika kitabu cha Isaya 57:2 inasema kwamba wale wanaoenda kwa
we know what happened there, and in early 2007, 2008, he came and told me, my friend, you gave me some money. I went, I won, but I lost. Said, I won, but and I understood. And we became very tight friends. He's a man full of life. Many times I go to South Rift for functions. Mukioko function, unasikia commotion. Unauliza what is happening, unasema Johana is coming. And he will arrive and change the mood of the meeting. That was Johana. Very, very good person. With a clean heart. Tulimuita siku moja kumwambia a support ndugu yangu Tunai as a candidate for senator. Tulikuwa na hawa kina Murkomen na Ichungwa na Aaron. Akatusikiza alafu akasema, you know, I respect all of you. But this one, hapana. Na akaondoka akatuacha. But later he called me and said, you know, mimi nina msimamo wangu. That is him. So mama, our daughter, the Ndutu family, mama wa rafiki yetu Johana, tunasema pole sana. Huyu ndugu yetu Were, on 22nd of last month, alinibeba mimi na Aaron Cheriot na Faruk Kibet kutoka Narok mpaka Kakamega, akaturudisha Nairobi, na rafiki yetu tumetembea naye sana. Very diligent pilot. But accidents do happen. It happened. We celebrate their lives. Hawa vijana wengine wote huyu kijana Murkomen anaitwa Carlos amewahi man. So tukiwa hapa leo waheshimiwa, ni kuaga wa ndugu zetu baada ya kupoteza wabunge 6, Godana, Ngoyoni, Guracha na wengine, Sasura, Mirugi. When in a stroke of one, we pray to God that all their souls rest in eternal peace. Bishop Langat, we thank you for your homily and the good message you passed to us. Wabunge wetu wote jana niliwapa time kwa bunge. Pole hamjaongea hapa. I know members of parliament love talking anytime you see an audience. But I gave you time 1.5 hours and you all paid tribute to your colleagues. And we thank you for taking time to come here. Just to acknowledge you, please, all members of parliament in both houses be upstanding to be acknowledged. The National Assembly and the Senate. This is the big, happy family of parliament that is now sad for losing one of us. Tunawashukuru sana. Friday, tunawaomba twende Emurua Digiri for the final send-off. Thank you. Be seated. Tuko hapa pia na wafanyakazi wetu kiongozwa na karani mkuu. Tafadhali msimame tu tuwa acknowledge. Wengi pengine wako huko nje kwa kazi, lakini clerk wetu Njoroge yuko hapo na wengine. Tunawashukuru sana kwa kuja kuwa nasi. I want to end by saying, like everybody else has said, when there is a tragedy in our country, it will be good for all of us to appreciate the will of God and not assign malice where it is not necessary. I have no doubt that Pilot Were was an astute airman and cannot have endangered his own life. This was an accident, and we hope the aviation authorities will look at the aircraft and its remains and see how corrective measures mechanically can be done in the future to avoid similar happenings. With Captain Were, Aaron, you remember how he was navigating around clouds in Kisii area, in Kericho, to the full pilot. And for Johana Ngeno and the people of Emurua Digiri, you've lost a leader. All politics are local, and he knew what local politics of his area meant. We went there to campaign many times, and you could see a man truly connected with his people. You could see a man who his people listened to, and you could see a man who his people appreciated. One time he came to see me, and I told him, you know, there's a book I read where there's a character called Johana Mjinga. He laughed and said, mimi si ule Johana wa kitabu, mimi ni Johana mwerefu, na wa kitabu ni Johana Mjinga. Then he said, you know, hao watu ya Kipsigis wameniambia mimi nikuwe kingpin. Unaonaje? Nikasema sasa hiyo enda sungumuza na Cheriot Aaron na wengine. Wakikubali sawa. You know, at any one time as I finish, an individual stands up in a generation and distinguishes himself above the rest, takes courage, speaks courageously, leads with vision, and speaks for everybody. No wonder the bishop said this was Kipkaliakones incarnate, because we served with Kipkaliakones and he knew how to tell you things as they were. Strangely, Bishop, the two heroes have died under similar circumstances. But when tragedy strikes, we withdraw back, thank God, praise God, like Job in the Bible. After losing each and every asset he had and his children, he said, I still believe you are a good God. And God remains a good God. God has never suffered from memory loss. He will always look after the widows and the orphans that our brothers have left. Allow me now to invite the Deputy President of the Republic to come and pay his tribute, and members of Parliament who are here, the houses are sitting, and we encourage you as soon as we are done to cascade quickly to Parliament so that we don't have any quorum hitches. Thank you and may God bless you.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika, naomba tuketi. God is good all the time. Asante sana. Familia za heirs here, our late, some older men, others younger men, but they were all good men. Everyone doing something for our country, contributing to our country's progress. And the Bible encourages us in Revelation chapter 14, verse 13, that blessed are those who die in the Lord. Blessed are those who die well and with good reputation, because they rest from the labors of this world, and their good deeds follow them. Heri wale ambao wanakufa katika Bwana, kwa sababu wanapumzika kutoka kazi ngumu za dunia hii, na matendo yao mazuri yanawafuata katika mapumziko. So we are very proud of our brothers here, and we pray for strength for the families. His Excellency the President has already reached out to support all the families, and he was going also to be with us on Friday. And even after this event, he had asked me to request Patrick, my brother Governor Ntutu, there to pass the message on behalf of the President, because of another assignment I'll be doing after this service. So we are together and we support him. Second thing is to say that for all those 6 families, I have listened to the various requests for support beyond the immediate support. The request by my brother Patrick on Mwalimu, because we have another qualified I've also discussed with my brother, Governor Patrick, and we have agreed that because he's the governor from where the majority of this because of the departure of their loved ones. And I know, for example, there's a young officer who has died, who was a security officer protecting our brother Ngeno. We'll find ways of supporting that family to get somebody else. I am told there's a widow somewhere with many children and has lost one of the sons who was the only person there. We'll see how to support that family. So Governor Patrick, we have agreed, my brother, do the job. Kwa hivyo, this place, very, very, very painful moment. And I also knew the Honorable Johana Ngeno quite a lot. We didn't agree in many things, but he was a very, very good friend of mine. We agreed on all the ideas and vision that he had for the people of Emurua Dukil. But we always discussed about the methodology of getting those things done. So I want to agree with those who say that many people may have underrated the intelligence, wit, and the leadership capabilities of Johana Ngeno. I agree fully. I have engaged him. He's a solid professional. a very visionary leader. And a person who knew how to combine strength that a leader requires. Not just to me, congregation. We were doing some event for 20 churches. And he came and he told me, in front of the people, and if you want to succeed, and therefore as deputy president, you must support the president in exact the communities in Emurodikil and in Narok, and provide a sustainable, long-lasting win-win solution that balances environmental conservation with also the interest of the population in that area. It is not one against the other. You can have the protection of the Mau ecosystem and at the same time grant land rights to the genuine people who have found their home in a Emurodikil constituency. So in honor of Johana Ngeno, the government will work out a program which is already on course to balance the environmental interest with the interest of the communities, because Johana Ngeno believed in peaceful coexistence, he believed in justice and equity, And he believed that everyone deserves justice, and he fought for all the communities that were in his constituency. Kwa hivyo tumeshukuru sana vile Mungu ametuwezesha kuwa na hafla hii. Tunaomba ya kwamba mtusamee kanisa, saa ingine tunaongeanga watu wengi na tunaongea sana, lakini tutaendelea tu kujirekebisha ndio tufupishe maneno, tupatie heshima familia waliofiwa. Tuko na nafasi nyingi sana ya kuongea outside some of these very personal events like funerals and weddings, which are quite personal to the family. So we are growing. We are grief and to feel comforted. Mimi ndio nimesema nimefanya makosa, sio nyinyi. I see some of the politicians are looking at me as if I've accused. Try going forward to be a bit more measured and to respect events like this ones where we have grieving families and people who have been affected by the loss of their loved ones.